We're doing well where, Gituku? Because she's painting a picture of mambo kwa ground.
You know, recently, when stories started emerging of companies that are closing down or they are downsizing their staff, their staff sizes, there was a post by David Day, the chairperson of the economic advisors of the president, and he said, what do all these companies have in common? They all serve a small elite market. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. If your customer base is suburban lifestyle, private security, home improvement, upmarket, FMCG, etc., things will get worse before they get better. And, you know, everything that is said by people that advise the president, I mean, they need to be taken with a bit of seriousness because it can reflect the thinking at the center. But I'm also wondering, if you say that the customer base is suburban lifestyle, you know, these are the same people who, Jamila, visit the supermarkets. They're the same people who take their children to private schools. They're the same people that use the expressway, which is a product of public-private partnership of about 71 billion shillings.
We're defaulting on payments, yeah.
They're the same people who use airports to travel at a time that you want to expand the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport through a PPP program. So when you speak the way you do to sort of dismiss that they don't exist, and I saw another statement, I think it was by the Deputy President, Professor Kindiki, saying that the common mwananchi is now able to afford a meal and whatever they need, whether it's the starch, the carbohydrates, the vitamins, or a balanced diet, so to speak. But we must not forget that for industrialization to thrive, there has to be a consumer base in the country. So when the middle class or the so-called suburban lifestyle, if people are losing their jobs, they're not able to afford this. These are the same people that sustain the domestic tourism sector. They're the ones that you take the SGR to travel wherever they want to go. They're the ones who are going to transport cargo or goods from either outside the country or within the country for the economy to keep moving. So really, they are responsible for circulation of the Kenya shilling. Yeah. When they hurt, the economy hurts. But then, Dr. Kitui, as we focus on this then, and the problem statement is quite clear on what's going on, what are the solutions moving into the future?
Okay, first of all, about David Ndii. I used to have a lot of time for David, but he's just become one of them. So I don't take him seriously on any of the things he's saying anymore. In the long term, there's no shortcut to the fact that we totally need a different form of government for Kenya to survive as a nation. These persons in 2 years have demonstrated most utterly the incapacity to rise to the challenges of leadership that the citizens of Kenya had given them. We can play around with games about the little outrages by individuals, but the whole system is dysfunctional. I don't think that the band-aid is going to help very, very much. In the meantime, we have to start to extend very consciously the public engagement in protecting public space, protecting dignity. We have to show outrage at abductions. When the president of a country orders a leading industrialist to be abducted and threatens him until he withdraws a court case, he's setting a precedent. We look to the other way, tukaanza kufanya ni mzaha, mambo ni matatu, until they started abducting politicians and youth activists. This criminality, we must stand up and fight it. We have fought a dark dictatorship before. We must be ready to stand up and fight a bad dictatorship again.
Thank you.
There's no solution for the short-term, medium term?
You're going to sweet court these guys to make them good anymore? Sudi is going to become more reasonable?
I'll take that as your final statement. I'll go to Wanja. Wanja, as we finish.
I think when they shrink the civic space, when they abduct people, they are sending a strong warning to those who are yet to be abducted that if you keep talking, we're on your radar. When I see men of cloth, and maybe women in other denominations where women are at the top, you remember people like Father Kaiser, the Catholics who said you cannot take land from the poor. I remember people like Muge, Alexander Muge, and they actually paid the ultimate price. And we are talking about people who paid the ultimate price 30 years ago, 20 years ago. And yet, many years later, these same individuals are pushing for really the same things. We, as a country, compared to other African countries, we are a country that is well endowed. It's just that there's a lot of mismanagement. However, there are lessons to be learned by this government, and they should be very cautious. 2024 is the year of democracy. We have around 60 plus elections happening, and the results are shocking. Mm-hmm. Botswana wameanguka na mmoja. Mauritius wameanguka na these people who believe that they are synonymous to the government. Yeah. In America, let me not even get started. So therefore, with this government, they should know that Kenyans have become empowered with the use of digital technology, and therefore, Kenyans are on their radar. So stopping dissent and harassing activists and church leaders is a very backward tactic. Imepitwa na wakati. In democratic countries, you should listen to the people you're governing. Second, you cannot be at war with the people you're governing. If the Kenyans are saying that health insurance is not working, stop writing papers upon papers upon papers. Just act. And thirdly, my voice in the parliament is my member of parliament. The MPs were very quick, unanimous. They were very on time when they were impeaching Gachagua. I really wish they can use that same discipline of attending parliament on time when they are talking about shisha. At worst, they need me to vote for them next time. Therefore, surely, our MPs stop this cuddling and this love with the executive and judiciary. They are also coming for you. Because now, as a Kenyan, I'll feel very exposed. My MP cannot talk for me. When I am unhappy, the executive is implementing shisha, and the judiciary, let me not even get started. Last but not least, even as Kenyans, we should not lose hope. We should continue speaking. Kenya is our country. Kenya is a democratic country. And we cannot, how can we attain the big things? You know, when we were in school, we were told about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You have to go there, and then you'll self-actualize and live in the beach, counting your sunset years and your millions. But now we are still grappling with, the other day I saw the government spokesman and some bloggers. I think now the bloggers are just enjoying because their job is spinning. They are saying the cost of ugali has gone down. Surely, in a country that is as well endowed as this, we are measuring success based on the price of ugali. No wonder now even they're bringing GMO now. I don't know what will happen with that new ugali for GMO. For me, it's like we need to look at bigger issues like youth employment, satisfaction with the job. It cannot be that we live in a country where around 1 million youth are applying for green cards to go abroad. We cannot be enjoying to say that we're exporting our people to the Middle East, where we have seen very gory stories of people being harassed and being treated to modern slavery. Why can't the government create jobs for people in their own country?
Thank you, Wanja. And finally, your sense some...
Right, I'm just looking at the feedback that has come to us. Wilton says that sensitivity and responsibility are key, but let's not forget the government is pushing for reforms that benefit all Kenyans. That's Wilton's view. Another one, Andrew Gachanja, is saying 844 was at par with most Western education systems. The new CBC model was based on an assumption that the West trained students to pursue their early areas of strength. In the West, football and basketball players have to pass their basic education. Wanja Douglas is saying, since I was born, I haven't witnessed such massive criticism of a sitting government. We can't all be wrong. The government has decided to overhaul the Kenyan system in only 2 years. Change is good, but change is a process. Our government must listen. Someone is saying, this is Chester Nyantika, the Catholic clergy have raised very pertinent issues that the state ought to have attended to, like yesterday. It's unfortunate that our politics is largely ethnic-driven, and best leaders like Hon Kitui would make a very good president, articulate and forthright. Are you running for president?
There's no vacancy right now.
Kuna kura hapo.
Right.
But the Gen Z said impeach both, eh?
Right, and Senator Irene Sifuna is saying that one statement by the Catholic bishops, 15 from government in response to Musifeso Christo. Of course, they have not been 15.
They have not 15, they are 4 or 5.
That's an exaggeration, but yes, there have been several. So I think, again, for so many months and years, we have problematized, or you've stated what the problem is. There has been attempts to look at solutions. I think there's still so much work to be done. At this time, the National Treasury has proposed to the House, that is the National Assembly, to raise some revenue of 178 billion shillings to sort out some of the gaps, including what would be, Jamila, about the conversion of intern teachers to JSS. So looking for money from your pocket to convert the permanent and pensionable, the intern teachers to permanent and pensionable. But at a time that you're also seeing, like what you're doing on Data Point, that they want to make SHIF and affordable housing levies allowable deductions, meaning they'll be deducted before taxation. So there's a slight benefit, but that slight benefit is taken again through imposition of the standard rate of VAT, that is 16% on several services, including entry fees to national parks and reserves. There are things that need to be thought about as Parliament embarks on processing that bill.
And on Thursday, we have the President, I think, addressing
yes.
both the National Assembly and the Senate, and we'd like to hear what he has to say. There are a lot of things on here. You
realize how long it has taken for this year. I think last year was in the month of September, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's taken very long.
But of course, it was a busy season, remember?
It's been very busy this year. It's already November.
Impeaching a deputy president.
Oh, yes.
The Gen Z protests.
A lot has happened. On that note, we end the show. Thank you very much, Dr. Kitui. Thank you, Wanja.
Thank you, Jamila.
Ituku asante.
Sarah Jamila.
And thank you for watching. Keep the conversation going. Our hashtag is Citizen TV News Gang. And we'll see you again next week. Have a good night. Thank you.
Good night.